Hello, good morning. It is Rebecca from the Flower Farming Business School. How are you? Um, we are in officially week 8 of the growing calendar in 2025. It is the end of February. The sun is out in Yorkshire, and I've picked up germs for my kids. So please, please, please forgive me if I'm a bit hoarse, a bit snuffly, and a bit snotty. All right. So, where are we at this week? We are into the first phase of pricing at the Flower Farming Business School. So, pricing comes up a number of times, and to make it accessible, I have very deliberately broken it down into areas that can be easily priced to give a good figure in a kind of sensible way. And I wanted to talk today a bit about why pricing your flowers well is so important. I also really wanted to keep the length of this podcast down so that I am not harassing you with my snuffles and snots and trying to edit out a cough every 3 seconds. So I'm going to try and keep this short because actually I don't think we need to labour the point, but I do think it's really important that we understand the reasons why good pricing methods for our flowers are important. So here is the short list, and there's a huge list, but here is a short list of the reasons that I think everybody should be taking into account. So if you want your flower farm to be a business, it needs to earn money. Number one. Secondly, it has to make at least enough money to cover your costs across all the flower stems that you sell. Number three, if selling your flowers does not cover more than just your essential costs, then it's not a business, it's a hobby. Which brings me to our fourth thought, which is you really must know that selling them will provide you with your desired income as well as your costs. To know that you're starting to make your flower farm into a business, not a hobby. Now, your desired income is something that we cover as part of the business planning module. You can buy that individually, but that's not really the purpose of this. Everybody knows or should know roughly how much of their household income they need to cover with the income from their flower farm. And that's your desired income. Okay, so there's a freebie. Number 5, you must make sure that you can not only cover your essential costs and your wage, but also future investments in your business. Because it's when you fail to plan by selling your flowers at an acceptable price to be able, when you fail to plan to grow more in the future, to make more beds or to buy a polytunnel, buying those things comes out of your own pocket, your own wage, and that's when you make even less or potentially create more debt. 6th, I think this is the one that many flower farmers are guilty, and I've used the word fail and guilty. Those are really quite strong words, but pricing is something that's incredibly important to me because when we don't do it properly, it's bad all round, and that's the purpose of point number 6 here, which is that when we don't price properly, when we fail to do the maths, or when we can't be bothered to do that, or when we're being lazy, I'm using some really strong words here deliberately, because all of those things put other flower farmers who are pricing properly to make a living and to be able to grow their businesses, it puts those flower farmers, those flower growers, out of business. And that is rubbish and wrong. So my final point is that assuming that you are growing high quality flowers, if your flowers are underpriced, then they're undervalued by you, but they're also undervalued by your customers And it makes customers believe that they're not worth much and it doesn't take much effort and they shouldn't be paying for good quality flowers that are grown with sustainable and good quality methods. We are fueling this lackadaisical kind of belief that flowers are just flowers and they should be cheap. So we actually have a really strong duty to make sure that our flowers are priced well in order to make sure that we sustain our own livelihoods. That's point number 4 or 5 on the list. To make sure that we're not putting other flower growers out of business. That's point number 6 on the list. And to make sure that we're educating our customers as to what actually goes into them. And one of the ways that we do that is by making sure that our prices are correct. That's point number 7. So those are the kind of top cut of reasons that I think it's important. There are more, but those are the ones I really wanted to get across in today's podcast. Now, this is a short podcast, and obviously I can't do an entire pricing workshop in here. However, I'm going to give you a list of things that I commonly see forgotten when flower farmers are thinking about their pricing and their expenses and their costs and things like that. Clothing, because people pull things out of their wardrobe and just continue to use them. Tools, because, they've got this lying around, or I just borrowed this from such and such, or I popped into B&Q and I bought this and this and this for myself and a couple of tools. Feeds and soil amendments. I really commonly see these things just kind of popped in a shopping basket when people go to B&M and along with, the cleaning products or whatever else, and not accounted for when you are doing your costings. Planned capital investments. So I've referred to this earlier. That's the concept of being able to cover your future growth within the costs of your flowers from the year before. And that doesn't mean they're adding £1 million to every stem, but it's those little bits that means so that you can expand and invest and grow. Buckets. Flower buckets. If you are giving away flower buckets and you're not costing them in, which I know a lot of growers don't, then it's costing you money. A lot of money when you add it up over the course of the year. And finally, your time. And I know it's painful working out what your time costs, but if you don't value your time, why should anybody else? It really is that simple. If you don't value your time, why should anybody else? So the first pricing workshop of the year is a nice quick way to work out the prices for stems and to account for all of this. And it's a 4-stage process that is nice and easy to follow. Like everything else, is a video, and I've done the working out for a couple of corms as we've gone through, and bulbs, so that people can understand the pricing and the costing and how to get to a reasonable figure. I do offer the disclaimer that this is not the process that I now use. However, I have tested it, and it does come up with a similar number that's so similar that it's the best starting point that I've been able to create. So a heads up, quarter 2 of the business school will be opening for registration on Monday, the 26th of March, and term 2 will start on Monday, or term 2, quarter 2, will start on Monday, the 31st of March. You will be able to see everything from earlier in the year, so January, February, March will be visible on the platform. However, the focus will very much so be on moving you and your flower farming business into the peak growing months with ease. And that's one of the bits of feedback that I'm getting time and time again, which is absolutely making my heart sing, that people are feeling in control, that they know where they're going, and that there is less of the overwhelm. Before I go today, I wanted to share some words from Premier Polytunnels. They've been incredibly supportive of the work that we do, and whilst this is not a paid advert, I did offer this opportunity in return for a huge vote of confidence and support that they gave me earlier this week. I asked the team at Premier Tunnels to provide a form of words that they would be happy for me to read, and this is what I received. With over 35 years of experience, Premier Polytunnels is a family-run business that's dedicated to providing top-quality, reliable polytunnels for all your gardening needs. Whether you're a hobby gardener, allotment holder, flower farmer, or growing on a commercial scale, we've got the perfect solution for you. Our polytunnels are designed to help your plants thrive, and with our unbeatable service, we ensure you're fully supported every step of the way. Visit us at premierpolytunnels.co.uk and discover quality products you can trust, backed up by the very best customer service. I will be back next week, next Thursday. It's always a Thursday because that seems to work well for you and work well for us too. I'll be talking about something else related to the practice of flower farming. Hopefully the sun will still be shining on my seedlings and helping them to grow big and strong so I can get them in the ground. And as a final hurrah of excitement, I do actually have to say a massive thank you to you all for listening. We went over 10,000 downloads at the beginning of this week. It feels incredible to me that 10,000 or more people have downloaded the episodes that we produce week in, week out. We're at episode 48, maybe 49, season 2, episode 7, whatever that's up to. And it is incredible to know that people are listening and that it is something that people must be coming back to time and time again for support, learning and encouragement. If you'd like to celebrate with us, buy me a coffee. There's a link in the show notes. There's a link on our new website. Have a look. Thank you so much. I'll be back next week. Rebecca.